Scott and I are ready. Scott is readier than I am, though. So
I was
I'm
born
always,
ready, Ellis.
yeah, I catch up my way. So we got January 6th happening simultaneous with us. So if I know my
We'll be,
audience, they'll all be on C-SPAN watching Adam
yeah.
Schiff.
I had oh my gosh, what a tool. What a tool.
Well,
I don't
hopefully
care.
they.
I don't care what your political stripe is. If you don't think he's a tool, I have no respect for you.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't have to say it. You don't have to admit it. But if in your heart you don't look at the guy and go, he's a tool, then
there's something wrong with that guy.
your judgment is suspect. Of course, if you're watching us every week, your judgment may be suspect too.
Yeah.
So uh, so so I wanted to talk about. Okay, so last week I was doing the X-Men drawings, the
Yeah,
John Byrne drawings, and I wanted to share some of these. I don't know if you can
yeah.
see. Now this is not them. This is
That's your
I
own
bought
creations. Yeah.
I bought this sketchbook on vacation, so I haven't had it very long. It was one of those I saw it and I just liked it. There was something
Hmm.
about it. I was like, man, that's awesome. The paper's hard, I think is what I like. Anyway,
Yes, the
this is
tactile is very important on stuff like that. Yeah.
oh my gosh, yeah. So this is the one I did. I think I finished it after we talked, and then I did
Yeah.
this. And I completely did not do what you and I talked about because you talked about you should do more Colossus. And I
Yeah.
literally did not.
Well,
I know why you said that. Yeah. Because of
yeah.
his lines. His
Yeah.
contour lines built into the character.
Right.
But I have the art of the artist edition of John Byrne X-Men. I just flipped through and found cool scenes. I tried to draw him about the same size he did, but I was off in a few spots. A lot of what I realize what I like is textures. Like I love that texture on that. I don't know if you can tell what that is, but this is a panel where Wolverine is coming up behind this guy and he grabs him. I've kind of
Hmm.
vignetted everything together,
Hmm.
you know, and
Very cool.
so I did that, and then I did this one. I thought this one came out good. My Colossus is a little thin around the waist. But other than that, I thought this came. I really like the way that Wolverine back turned out,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. No, the back is a great thing to why you do copies. It's like, let me get that back right. Yeah.
yeah. So I was doing them, and I got to this, which is an angel drawing that I kind of like. And again,
Hmm.
a lot of it's texture. His costume just has a metallic look to it that I
Hmm.
like. And then I got an email from some people going, "Hey, are you still working on those Phantom pages or the Daredevil Phantom Lady pages?" And I said, "Well, I've been doing some other stuff, but I'll get back on them." So that's
Hmm.
what I'm doing now. But I have 2 pages done, but I was looking at them and I'm redoing them.
Well, there you
It's
go.
the bane
They
of my existence is double or second guessing myself. Um,
Well, yeah, I mean, there's some stuff when you had to have your head down for Heaven's Rejects, and you had to
yes,
just barrel through that if you were going to ever expect to see it finished. But at the same time, now it's like, you know,
yeah.
you can
Now it's
you can always go back and say, oh, that could have been better. But
yep.
you're right to the extent that finishing, I've heard some wise men say, many places, is the most important part. That's where you start.
Right.
You finish it.
Well, so I'm doing and what's bad is Ellis is working on that X-Men stuff has made me realize what some not everything for sure, but some of what I want to see more of in my work. And so I'm trying to go through and do some of that. Um, it's
And
interesting. There are things that I'm like, okay, this looks a lot better, you know.
uh,
And I
yeah,
haven't got
but
that far.
I got to say that I was responding kind of on a certain level when you were saying what you really liked was what you were calling texture, the rendering of it all. It
Oh
was
yeah,
it's just that's the last kind of the last thing you should be picking up from on your copy. You should be picking up on the
Probably, yeah.
on the how things are built and the volumes and everything else.
Well,
the texture. Once you get the volumes, all you're doing, if you like texture, is deciding what vocabulary you want to use for your edges.
So,
go ahead.
Well, I was gonna. I don't know if I sent you one of my. I took some pictures of my process, and originally, like on that first page, initially I was just kind of copying, looking the line. Here's a line. Here's a line. Here's a line. Then I went to where I was building the figure and copying the volumes and then adding the texture to it. Because you're right, I felt that was the way to, if I was going to learn from it, that was the way to learn, not necessarily, by,
just having your thumb out and doing measuring and by rote copying the shapes you see isn't going to teach you. Dropping in your own little head armature and rib cage armature and then saying, okay, there we go. That's exactly the same measurements as what I'm looking at. Now let's go over the top of it. And I mean, you could switch to finish pretty quick, just as long as you're, do a little bit of ground floor thinking when you set it down.
Oh, no. Yeah, I was definitely, early on, I was not, but as I got into it, I was like, okay, I need to figure out what's going on here, not just, okay, I'm copying this,
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was, it
But
has been a helpful
I
exercise.
Really, I got to congratulate you on doing that. It's like, there's nothing that opens the doors quicker than doing some good copying by someone you really want to look like, or
Yeah.
you want to get their notions of how to do something, copy them. I mean, what could be more fundamental than that?
Yeah.
I bought the book. Like right now, I've got these from the library. I got 2 more coming. Turned out I'd read Friend of the Devil. Oh, I just blanked out.
You did? I can still hear you. Your video did. Your video stopped. I can see up.
But I came back.
Oh, okay.
I've already read. Everything's backwards. I decided to be a left-handed today. I don't know why I decided to flip that. I've read Friend of the Devil, and I'm rereading it, and I've got the other 2 on hold, and I read Destroy All Monsters, and I went through this book, The Mad Art of Caricature. This has got some, this is like one of those books. If you're ever wondering, is there a good book that could teach me how to be a caricature artist at the zoo? This is your book right here. By the guy that basically replaced Mort Drucker at Mad Magazine, Tom Richmond.
It's funny you say that. I used to know a guy, he's passed away, who lived here, and he was a caricature artist, and he had lived out in California, and he did it at one of the theme parks out there. I forget which one. I don't think it was a Disney park. And
I may have encountered this guy. Yeah.
You may have. He doesn't do comics though, but
I think I saw him at that one con they had at the not Artist Alley, the Film Row. That one Film Row con they had that your friend that owns the comic store had there that one time.
Oh yeah, he may have been there. He may have been there. Anyway, he was a caricature artist for the Thunder, believe it or not, and he at Thunder home games he would do caricatures for people. He'd go up and he'd do your caricature for free, but That was what he did. It was crazy. The guy worked for the Thunder, and that's all he did. And he made enough money that he didn't have to work, and he didn't really do much of anything else. He did a little bit of stuff, but for the most part, it was
I've been told that this is a it's very lucrative to do caricatures. I mean,
Oh yeah, now he would do them at parties and stuff too.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, you could hire him, and he would come to your party for X amount an hour. But he was so bad with money, he didn't even have a car.
Huh.
You know, I'd talk to him and be like, yeah, I'm like, dude, you need a manager. You know, I mean, if you have a skill like that and you can't, at least have some
pack your
basic
materials up and be the next place you need to be. Yeah.
Well, yeah, he was taking a bus to the Thunder games. You know.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and he lost his job because he was complaining about the job on Facebook or something. I mean,
take notes, Scott. He might have somebody that actually watches this that listens to you talk about work. Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
I was surprised Instagram is basically Facebook. I saw that little.
Yeah. Are you talking about in terms of ownership or in terms of?
It's a Zuckerberg.
Oh yeah. It's a Zuckerberg thing. Well, when you go in there, it says powered by Meta.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Which is what he's trying to rebrand Facebook as.
He's trying to get mass formation hypnosis going on that. Yep.
Yeah, I cannot take Twitter though. I mean, because it is so. Every time you go in there, there's somebody, and just complaining about something, and you get to looking, and it's like they have 0 posts and they have 12 followers, and they expect that somehow their opinion is to be taken as seriously as anybody's. It's like no one is listening to you.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I mean, it's just I don't like the randomness of people that pop up, and nobody has most of the time people like that don't use their real name. It's just
no, it's always some sort of wacky pseudonym that probably has meaning to them.
Well, it's just fake names tend to encourage bad behavior, or mask it at least.
Yeah.
So I don't care for that. I honestly probably wouldn't be on any of it except for just
Well, I'm on way too much of it, and then it turns off an entire part of your brain that you ought to be using every day, which is the dreaming up stuff you ought to be doing. When you get on that passive platform of the internet and surfing and looking at social media, your brain is just not. You're using 2% of your brain when you do that.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. Of course, I've been my my head's right in the way. Sorry about that. My thing has been eBay.
Yeah. What have you been buying?
Oh, all kinds of stuff. I've been buying clothes lately.
What?
Clothes.
Clothes.
I bought that safari. I bought that safari jacket.
Neil Adams safari jacket. That's right.
Yeah.
I have wanted. That's funny.
I have wanted a safari jacket forever, and Neil Adams always wore one at conventions, or I always saw him wearing one, and he's had several, because if you look in various interviews over the years, they look alike, but if you look at them, they're not the same jacket.
Style's slightly different. Huh?
With styles slightly different, but seeing him wear them, I was like, and I have a real lightweight jacket like that I wear a lot when we travel. It's basically an outer shirt. I mean, it's not lined or anything, but I like it because if I wear a jacket that has lining, it's too stuffy for me. I need a shirt. I need a jacket with that's not lined, especially for like more humid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was like, man, I kind of like the safari jacket, and just Neil Adams passed away. I was like, man, and I was at a thrift store and I saw one, but it wasn't. It wasn't my size, for one thing. It's too big. And I thought, I ought to buy me one. So I found a nice one on eBay and bought it. It's a little biggish, but it's not bad.
I just saw something. someone interviewing Neil Adams at some con, asking him about Marvel and DC, and he said he just used this for contrast. He said, DC, Batman so and so comes out, and DC gives me a call and says, "Here's $100,000 for Raul Ghul." Or
Ra's al Ghul. Yeah.
Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, Ra's al Ghul.
It says Marvel crickets on I forget which character he did. It was
yeah, there was a character,
some character he did, and it's crickets on whether or not they were going to pay him for that, the character he came up with.
Yeah, so, I've heard that. I've heard that from multiple people where they've said, yeah, DC's pretty good about it, Marvel not so much.
Yeah. And then he just says, the guy asked him, why is that? He says, well, they're jerks at Marvel.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, Neil.
Yeah, no truer words were ever spoken. Oh, yeah. No, wait. Yeah, yeah.
This is fun. I once again was doing a deep dive, marveling at the first, probably Frazetta. I probably saw his art on the EC reprint stuff first, probably Autumn People or something like that, without knowing it was Frazetta. But the one that almost like gave me a cartoon like playing, kind of like double take when I saw it, was that Conan. I guess it's Conan the Adventurer, where he was standing there with his sword stuck in a big mound of corpses with a little girl hanging onto his knee or his thigh. Yeah. It's like, holy heck, what is this? That's one of those moments in an artist's life where he really attaches himself to this or that.
Yep, you see something, you're like, holy smokes.
How was that done, and who is it?
Yep, I've had a few of those where I've seen people and been like, holy cow, or seen their art and just been blown away. Sorry, I got my reference drawing of this character.
Need that reference.
Well, this Daredevil has a weird looking costume. It's like half one color and half another.
Yeah, sometimes those old characters, the character design wasn't always very appealing. Yeah. I mean, they were just like, let's toss this in here, or toss this in, I mean, same is true of, Steve Ditko and Jack Kirby. Every now and then, they just weren't on their game. And if they weren't drawing basically nudes, and they were just adding flaky little details that would go into the character design, it'd be like, it's pretty ugly. That's the reason so many of these Marvel movies, they absolutely have to say, give this to someone that knows a little something about fashion art or something, costume design, and let's give a big redo to this. And of course, that's what's beautiful about the old Batman TV series. They just went for it straight out of the box. It's like, this is what Batman looks like.
Okay. Well, my reference photo or my reference image wasn't very good. He's got this Daredevil. I'll pull this up and show it to you. Oh, that's bad.
I'm sorry, I went off on a big tangent, didn't I?
No. See, he's got a line, and it's dark on one side and light on the other.
Oh yeah. That's like, what is that? Why is that?
Yeah, it's kind of odd, and I don't even like that drawing because it's not good. Let's see. I think I have a reprint of some old Daredevil right here. Believe it or not. Have you ever read this book?
The Great Superheroes book. Oh, Jules Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
He's an interesting guy, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah,
he's a good writer,
He's a good writer, and he tells us he tells some. Apparently, at the time, this is Golden Age, and it's got a bunch of reprints in the back. I don't see Daredevil. I thought there was Daredevil in here. Anyway, he there's a spirit. He talks about stuff about the comic industry back in the Golden Age, which is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, some of those
And,
early books by Pfeiffer. That's where you were getting your comics history from, because he was the guy that was.
Oh well, we're gonna wing it.
Putting the knowledge out, what he knew.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Anyway, so what'd you do today, Ellis?
Oh, I went for the walk,
Okay.
and that's about it. I've got a painting in there that is. I'm just determined to never finish it. I guess I've got a couple of little details to finish on it, and I'm just not breaking out the materials and doing it. And I told you and then the other thing I've got pending as something I ought to be doing is I've decided about the only way that I can passively make a little income that's like internet, social media related is probably bundle up and organize something I could offer on Gumroad that would just basically be like my idle hands, basically a big monster retrospective of a whole bunch of the stuff I've drawn and been involved with, and just offer it as PDFs and, try to make a couple of bucks on that.
I was looking at, what was I looking at? No, you were talking, there was something where you were talking about, you were talking about that animation you did for Jurassic Park game. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, holy cow, Ellis has done so much interesting stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like you get involved with these little game companies that, especially at the era I was involved with, these guys were, they were hard chargers. They were going after, because they knew what was going to be happening, and they eventually did sell themselves to Sega, made the big bucks, went their way, and then all these people that thought they were in with the in crowd found out that without it being in writing that they were in with the in crowd, they got no benefit out of it. They were just moved to new employers, and that happened with it happens with all those companies. It's like, they ask for all this loyalty, and then they act like they got a big family built up, and then it's like, well, let's see, I don't guess you ever were involved in any ownership or special divvy that you were thinking you were going to get from the company once we did well. But, that's just one of those things you got to know going in. Are you just strictly a work for hire kind of guy? And, of course, that came up a lot on comics. Like, how much really can you whine about being the creator if you haven't got it in writing? Or, the whole gatekeeper system was based on, you got no rights to this. You understand that before we start. They may not have set you down and said that,
but they should have.
You've got to have the sense to kind of sort it out yourself. That if I don't get it in writing, I'm not getting anything.
Well, and that was, I had someone. There's a guy who's a lawyer who does comic book stuff, and he kind of took me to task for doing so much Heaven's Reject stuff with no contract.
I can't. I haven't taken you to task, but I've always thought that there's just no way that you can come out on top with as much as you've done. But the only thing you were, I didn't ever say anything like that because you weren't after that. You were after you were wanting to do something that gave you growth and
Yeah.
and got you out there and gave you something that made you part of something that once you got around to going to a big con, you'd say, "This is me," you know.
Yeah. Well, and well, his thing was you don't have a deal, but of course his solution was to hire him. You
Oh,
know,
okay, yeah. Well,
that was,
well, yeah, and
he did he did.
people will respond to a Sharpie lawyer in some somewhat predictable ways. They'll say, "Yeah, I think I'll move on to the next guy."
Yes,
It will
and
it will keep you from getting work, but or it might not. It might you might get you some respect going in that you need. You know.
yeah. Well, I wasn't overly concerned about it. I felt like, but I mean, yeah, I could have been taken advantage of, and I still may, but I don't think so. I mean, at least at this point, I do have a contract, so at the very least, I got a leg to stand on if it
Yeah,
comes down to,
with a nice big company. Yeah, Source
yeah,
Point
press.
Source Point Press. Uh, yeah, the thing you were talking about earlier, the animation I did, that was referring to me talking about Phil Tippett's Mad God, which is going to premiere, I think, in about another week on Shudder, and it's it's been 30 years in the making, and I mentioned that because I think it was Barry mentioned that it had been 30 years that he's been working on it, and I said I believe it because I was at a con with about 20 people in the room, and he was showing us clips from it, and you know how the way the con has grown. I was in a
Right.
con back in the
There's nothing with
probably
20
early
people in there.
90s or maybe late 80s, and he was showing this stuff off, and that's the only way you could get a crowd of 20 for some sort of like event like that back then. They got all blown up with reactions to things like that, or you didn't even get the room unless you were a big deal.
Yeah. Well, well, like you say, uh, the, uh, you go to the bathroom at San Diego and there's 20 people in the bathroom, and
Yeah,
nowadays,
exactly. Yeah,
so I
yeah,
mean, the idea that you would be in a room watching a preview of something of a movie that, or not a preview, I guess, but clips or whatever, that would not happen nowadays.
I wish I could remember the stupid question I asked him. But needless to say, it was like maybe I've blocked it. Maybe it was so stupid that I blocked it. But anyway, Tippett, I was mentioning that he was just about the guy that was going to do all the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. It would have been just a completely different movie if they
Oh
had
yeah,
gone with Harryhausen type of stop motion for all the dinosaurs. It may have been much more charming, may have made as much money. We'll never know. But that was, at that point, pre-production, that was being investigated. And so all of his really cool, super articulated dinosaurs that were going to show up in the movie became like just layabout props. And our company, Blue Sky, just happened to have scored. I forget who had to be convinced, but we scored the French. You call it franchising? What do you call it anyway? But the licensing,
the licensing for that game.
for the game, for the Genesis, for Jurassic Park. And they may have had two simultaneously at the same time. I don't know. They're pretty generous with that when they're trying to get a launch going on with some big product like that. But
Yeah.
we had one of the big ones, and so they sent. And Doug was the guy that got to use it for the Tyrannosaur and a couple other dinosaurs. And then later on, almost immediately, we were doing the design because we knew it was just going to be huge. And we got the further licensing for Jurassic Park 2, which has got nothing to do with any movie that came out. Oh, see, I knew I was going to be glitchy today.
Oh yeah, you're a little bit, but
well,
I
no,
still get
our screens are blanking every now and then. So anyway, we were doing Jurassic Park 2, had all the game design work done, and I got to do that big ostrich-looking one. And like I say, I just had a perfect nature film of a tracking shot of an ostrich running. And that's all I did was I took 10 exact rotoscope frames from that ostrich and posed my model right on top of that ostrich as he's hitting the ground, picking them up, laying them down, and it came out great. And of
Very
course,
cool.
the model, you just can't believe something could be made that well. That's just involved in having fun making movies with dinosaurs. I'm sure people probably mixed armatures and stuff like that back in the day. Now he talks in one of those previews some guy's done. Oh, that that preview I sent around, that's 10 years old too.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I have him talking about it it's going to happen. he was talking 10 years ago about count on it. This is happening. So it's great. I mean, congratulations on sticking with something for 30 years because I'm sure.
No doubt. Well, I had never heard of the gentleman, and you guys were talking about it. I said, who is this? And then you sent that link, and I watched about half of it at lunchtime. I haven't watched, and it was just interesting to hear him talk. And you linked to some book of his. It's like $150 or something like that.
A bunch of his art and stuff. Yeah, it'd be a worthwhile little coffee table book, I'm sure. We were talking about how artists never make money. One of the guys, I was just sure that the artist I was thinking did this thing was Ron Cobb. Have you ever seen that where the vultures are sitting up in a tree, big old fat, goofy looking vultures, and one of them says, "Patience, my ass! I'm gonna kill something." Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that was a big deal in the 70s.
Oh, yes. A little black light poster. Everybody thought that was a pretty good joke. And I think that's Ron Cobb, but I couldn't find anybody crediting it to Ron Cobb. But since everybody is using it as an unlicensed thing to put out on T-shirts and posters, it's like, well, it may be kind of hard to find out who did this exactly from much of any sort, but I think it's Ron Cobb. But anyway, Ron Cobb is one of the only people to ever make a real killing by being an artist, because for whatever reason, the lawyers, we're talking about lawyers, got sloppy on the divvy on E.T., and Ron Cobb's contract clearly said he had participation in
so he got points.
Yeah, he got points, and Ron Cobb didn't notice it, but his wife did. And got in touch with people, and sure enough, they had the kind of money that flows in that changes your life, so they made some good money on their and also it was like, it's really funny. It was like totally useless artwork. It was raw. It was E.T. is a kind of a malevolent force. So his designs, it's like, thank you very much. Here's your participation points. Be sure to use them.
Yeah.
And, I kind of like that.
Not to be confused with a participation trophy.
Yeah. It's like, I like that story because it's like, couldn't even use it, huh? Tough.
Yeah.
Tough.
Hey, that's it was on them. Their lawyers should have read it better.
Yeah, it's right here in bold print.
Yeah.
I guess it wasn't all that bold since his wife had to look at it closely.
Well, you can't expect an artist to read a contract.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. That would never happen.
Yeah, I don't read the ones I sign with In-World. I say, I struggle.
It'll be fine.
Yeah,
It'll be fine. Yeah.
Then I end up stiffed last month, but I'm told they'll square the payment up this month.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty quick on that, realizing I got stiffed, but
yeah, I did a comic book for one of the local news channels. I don't want to say which one, and I did it, and then they emailed me like 6 or 7 months after I did it. I'm sorry, years. They paid me, and that was another thing where I just did it, and at the end they were like, "How much do we owe you?" And I told them, and they didn't bat an eye at the amount, which was thousands of dollars. And they emailed me after several years after the project had been over, and they said, because I drew their news helicopter on the front of the comic, and they said, "Hey, can you put a different helicopter on there, a different sponsor's name on that helicopter? Same copter, just different name."
Mm-hmm.
And so I did. I sent them something, and I told them, "Hey, it'll," and so I sent them a bill. And it took them forever to pay me, and so finally I emailed, like, "Hey, I haven't got paid yet." "Oh, okay, I'll check on the."
Uh-huh.
I hate stuff like that.
Well, yeah, you just assume that, but you don't realize, it's like there's nobody in special charge of making sure Ellis gets paid.
Yep.
But there is, of course, but it's got plenty of little holes to fall through the cracks. The cracks are there to fall through.
On that
stuff.
Yeah, and it probably won't fall in your favor unless you're wrong cop. Apparently.
Yeah, exactly. I was looking at that Conan painting, and it's like, that guy is. And of course, first said had done several comic books prior to that, just years prior, where he was doing a lot of wild Indian cowboy stuff. And, Conan is just almost purely crazy looking Apache kind of character on that cover. And
oh, yeah.
That was kind of the character design he went with, kind of like making Conan into a wild Indian.
Yeah, and
I guess
it's a cool design for Conan.
Oh yeah, I guess that term is more than likely politically incorrect. Wild Indian.
Yes, you're probably right.
But that used to be the way you visualize things back in a certain era of Hollywood. And
oh yeah,
I tell you what, I'm gonna rewatch our stream tonight, because I just looked up again. My screen went black, and they had that little that little wheel saying, "Wait a moment, we're loading." So
I don't think
my internet on my end is pretty flaky tonight.
It's definitely on your end, because when you've said that, I've looked up and mine's been completely caught up and fine. And
I say that as I'm drawing this kind of wild Indian on my part. doing a character with a nice little heavy spear.
Oh yeah.
A good grip. I'll probably get 2
Did I,
drawings out of it tonight, maybe.
did I tell you about my windshield?
What happened with your windshield?
Oh man, I got hit by a rock and it put a huge crack in my windshield. It was
Just
small. It
Uh-huh.
was small. It was small little chip, little star, and it was sitting in the. It happened, and I saw it drive. I heard it. Didn't think a lot of it, and then when I got on the way home, I stopped at a light and I saw, oh man, I got a star, and so it was out of my line of vision. So I thought, well, I can live with that. And then
Mhm.
when I went to work the next day, I come out at lunchtime and it had grown to a crack about a foot long. And then when I came out after work to go home, it had grown to 2 cracks. It had winched off another direction. This one's about 2 foot, and this one's about a
Weird.
foot. Yeah.
I've never experienced that. Usually those little stars are. I've got one. I don't even think about it. Having one
Yeah.
that's. But you never know. You might hit I might hit a bump someday that says, "Okay, now we're going to get started on doing just like what's happened to you. Let's start spreading."
I honestly think it was the heat.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was out in the sun yesterday, and
Yeah.
or not yesterday, Wednesday. It's happened Tuesday, I guess, driving home. And then yesterday, Michelle and I rode together, so I didn't have to deal with it. Because I'm going to get a new windshield, but I can't get one until Tuesday. And I don't want the car to become undrivable between now and then,
No. Yeah. Don't want it unsafe. Yeah.
So I'm kind of trying to take it easy. So like today, I parked where it'll have shade on it all morning. Just try and keep the heat off that glass, because I think that's what made it crack worse.
I was you talk about Twitter and personalities on it. A guy on Twitter that just had his car broken into, and he showed a picture of all the broken glass on his car seat. And he's this guy Jesse Kelly that is he's got some great. Well, one thing, he's got one great overriding opinion, is that we need to treat this country like it has been basically overrun and overpowered by communists, and we need to get in gear and fight back. So that's his great overriding editorial about life in this country. So that makes him basically, he's a former military guy. So he's a guy that's ready to step out on the porch and shoot you if he notices you trying to break into his car. But he's just a victim, just one of those victims. But he said there's some sort of camera that showed it was a Toyota. I guess it was a Camry, and so he's all embarrassed about the fact that his break-in artists were Camry driver. I'm not sure if that hints at him they're being just having too much money to be breaking into cars, or what.
I think the idea is that he was victimized by someone with so bad a
taste in vehicles.
Taste. Well, and just kind of this general. It's not even like it's not some punk in an El Camino or something.
Yeah.
It's some, it's like getting robbed by your soccer mom or something.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I think
that's my take on it.
No, I think you're right. Yeah. It's like being robbed by soccer moms. Yeah. That's it. They just weren't deadly looking enough. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he probably is like
breaking into his car.
Yeah, if it had been a couple guys in El Camino or something a little more
Mad Maxy.
Yeah, exactly.
Something with some horsepower and
something dangerous.
With character design in it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like no. It's a Camry of all things.
Yeah.
So one of the things I've taken the opportunity to do, because one of the things that I've absorbed from my copying John Byrne is how he uses gesture in a real dynamic way, and I don't do that, and so my changes on this have been to kind of try and do some of that, and this is a perfect example. Because this is, let me do this. This is, I don't know if you can see this. This is the panel I'm working on, and this is what it looked like before.
Oh yeah, you definitely improved it, definitely.
So that's what I've been trying to do on this thing, just give it a little bit more dynamics,
energy, appeal,
energy. That's like that.
More
energy.
Make it into eye candy. Just think about it. Everything we respond to could almost be called. Some sort of big branding kind of thing. We respond to everything, whether or not it's cool looking or not.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, so
everything's got to have some sort of sex appeal, I guess.
Or
appeal in general.
Appeal, yeah. I mean, I'd go with appeal on this. That ain't gonna work.
That's what I can't get over. It's like, I guess they can do it. We talk about mass formation psychosis. I guess they can eventually convince the world that, and I don't mind advertising with regular looking people, but if you're advertising products that are formed around, okay, this is you, this is Body Beautiful, and then you aren't showing Body Beautifuls, you're saying this is the new beauty. It's like, you don't get to invent beauty. I know what my eye enjoys looking at, and you are not putting it in front of me. And it's like, but I guess they're going to try to force that in a way that, I don't know. I just wonder if people don't look at these things as challenges. It's like, we know how people think they like people, models to look. Let's change that. I think we can. What do you say, guys? I'm with you, JB.
We can do better.
We can do it. Heck, that's what we're here for.
It's funny you say that. I had a conversation with somebody the other day, one of my younger employees, and I told him, we were talking about that. I said, I'm glad I grew up in the era of the supermodel.
Yeah, with big hair and all that. Hey, D says, hi, hey. How about that?
Hey.
We got one person coming by, and they use a big poisonous plant to be their icon. I don't know what that plant is. It's probably a what is that plant? See that plant, Scott, on D's banner?
Oh, I don't know what that is. Some kind of ivy.
Some sort of ivy. I wouldn't mind being in a house that was falling to pieces, but was covered with ivy. That could be this house. That'd be nice.
You'll have to work on that.
Ivy.
You can work on that.
I could plant ivy.
Oh yeah, no, you wouldn't want that because
I know everybody complains about it, but I wouldn't complain about it.
You would when it got.
I just be timing my exit basically. Somebody else have to kill all that ivy. There's somebody down the street that had made the mistake about, I don't know, 10 years ago to start growing a bamboo.
Oh gosh.
That stuff is apparently hard to clear off once you've let that get itself well established. That,
Oh
that
yeah,
was
and it's
quite a demo project.
extremely invasive.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great to use it for products. I'm all for that, but
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah. I
don't
mean, it's
want it
like
in my
growing
yard.
grass to replace lumber. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
No, this one didn't go very well. I'll do the usual, just like I don't want to draw his feet. I can draw his feet. I can prove I can draw his feet by just drawing a foot. Oh, maybe I'll do something tippy toe. Prove I can draw foot.
Proof to who?
I don't know. Proof to me.
Oh well, if you don't know, you probably should prove it to yourself.
Yeah, I should. I should prove it. I'll give him a really big toe. Yeah, that's it. Those are always good. And the other toes. Yeah, these Brubaker books. Of course, I'm also in the middle. I've given a break to Patricia Highsmith's the Talented Mr. Ripley.
Oh yeah.
To read
Is that good?
my Brubaker. Oh, you know what? I guess I would always put it off because I thought, I know the story. Why would I read it? It's just like Strangers on a Train. The same reason you read that. It's a totally different animal, but by the time you dig into it, they're not going to give you all the flavor of Patricia Highsmith, what she does in a movie. They can't. And so, yeah.
They can't or won't.
Well, the deal is, for one thing, the actor has to interpret it and think about who has played Ripley. Ripley has been played by Dennis Hopper, Matt Damon, and Malkovich. And it's like, well, okay, I guess they haven't figured out what Tom Ripley exactly is or how he should be approached. But they, really every one of those instances, even Dennis Hopper's The American Friend, I really I recommend that movie. It's a pretty cool flick. And Malkovich, I loved. Well, basically, The American Friend and Ripley's Game with Malkovich are the same stories. So
really?
that one's been done twice, and The Talented Mr. Ripley has been done twice. Oh, that's the guy I didn't mention that played Ripley that I guess you could say may have done it best is what's that? He's a guy that you would say, there's a kind of wimpy, handsome guy. If you get that handsome, you got to be a wimp. And the guy's actually a paratrooper.
Uh-huh.
He was in the military as a paratrooper. What's his name? I gotta look him up now.
I thought Matt Damon played him, didn't he? No,
he did play him very well, or I thought he did. But he played him with a kind of a not malevolence or a missing malevolence. He played him with a little too much insecurity, I think.
Oh yeah.
Ripley is not so much. He's extremely insecure. He's a sick man, but he's just not the insecurity that comes through with he's not helpless. He'll snap back pretty quick, like.
Oh yeah.
And of course, Matt Damon's guy. Oh, okay. The guy I was thinking of was named Tom DeLonge. I don't know how you pronounce it, Tom DeLonge.
I
know Alan DeLonge as Tom.
Alan. Oh, him.
Alain DeLonge. Alain. He was in La Samurai and a couple other cool flicks.
Oh, that I do know who that guy is.
Yeah, he's super, super handsome. He was in some Bronson movie I still haven't seen all of, where they're just getting off of a cruise ship together and separate, but in some way collide again later. Troop transport act. That foot came out pretty good. I decided I better draw a foot.
You can draw feet, Ellis.
Look at that. There's a foot. It's all stretched out, taking a little bit of a tippy toe sneak around kind of thing. There went my screen again.
No.
I just like the light and dark green plants from the garden. Yeah, from the garden. That probably is some sort of edible underneath. It's probably a root edible.
An edible root.
Some sort of variety.
Maybe.
I don't know what the leafy heads of the plants are. Or I should. I know I've been around a couple of farmers in my life.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. You know, my whole family's from Arkansas. All of them had stuff going on, stuff planted, gardens and stuff.
Gotcha.
Not your wimpy city gardens, you know, rows and rows, and you know,
Yeah.
use tractors to turn it up and all that, and still just call it a garden.
Yeah.
And then I know people that do crops, you know.
Oh,
I
yeah.
got some people up in Bartlesville that actually, you know, they're big deal farmers. They're like soybeans and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. That's a when you're in the deal, when you're growing stuff that on the farm report they report the price of, then
Yeah,
you're you know.
And actually, they're also involved in like, okay, now load it up. We're going to drive it across country ourselves, you know. So they're actual
yeah.
truckers too. The kind of people this country needs, supposedly.
If I keep hearing predictions about food shortage, so yeah, we're gonna need.
Well, yeah, I say that they're needed supposedly because we don't have a top-down group that seems to act like they're needed. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I drew this originally, this page, and I've decided I'm going to make it a period piece. I have not consulted with the any of the powers that be because I'm not going to announce it, and it's going to be subtle. But you know, I'm not getting paid for this. I'm just kind of doing it. And if it goes belly up, I'm going to use it myself for something. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And that'd be cool to be a period piece. So originally when I drew this, they had automatics. Now these guys are going to have revolvers.
Oh, you're going to say that it's going to go back to, well, obviously the 1911 showed up in the movie The Wild Bunch. Cowboys just last away with their 1911s.
Yeah, but I'm going to treat it like it was from the 50s.
Okay.
I'm shooting for mid-century look. You know. We'll see. We'll see.
This screen blanking. I want to see. I've got to check on that. See if my sound is also blanking. You know,
your sound has been good all night, as far as I can tell. I haven't had any problems hearing you.
Okay. Yeah, it's
No
just
no
it's probably just
problems.
my linkages of what my internet can show me, but hopefully, the streaming part end of it is
I
working
think
all
if
right.
anything happened, Ellis, you probably froze. Your video probably froze in a few spots.
Yeah,
Hopefully your audio didn't freeze though.
we'll find out. I guess we've been at it in an hour, Scott. Are you
Yep,
about ready to take a break and call it quits?
yep. I need to go get some coffee, and I was running late because of traffic, and I need to go. I'm gonna take my shoes off.
Yeah, that helps. Sometimes your brain can't work if your feet are too hot.
Well, yeah, and this
It's
time of
muggy
year,
around here.
around the house, I don't wear shoes a lot. So,
Yeah.
but I'll change them when I get home. Just put on a pair that hadn't been on my feet all day.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, dude, it was good to talk to you.
Yeah, it was fun.
I don't know if I told you, but I had a lot of fun hanging out with you last Friday.
Yeah, we did have fun last Friday. What did we do? Give us a quick synopsis of what we did last Friday.
Ellis met me at my wife's work, and we walked downtown, and we what did we do first? Did we go eat first? Yeah, we went and ate.
Yeah, probably went to eat first, and it was in the old food court. But I think did we maybe go to the library first?
Maybe we did go to the library first. Anyway, we ate. We went to the downtown library, and then we went to. You wanted to get coffee, which I thought was a good idea. And we went to the place called Is it Leadership Square? Yeah, it's Leadership Square.
Yeah.
In Oklahoma City, which is a great place because it's like a big food court. There's not a lot of restaurants there, but there's a place where we could get coffee, and there's tables, and you can sit there undisturbed all day, pretty much.
Yeah. Nobody gets too alarmed if you're taking up space for an hour or so or just sitting around. Yeah.
Yep. In fact, when my wife had foot surgery, because I work half a day on Fridays, and so when my wife had foot surgery, she couldn't drive, and so I would take her to work, and then I would go to work, and then I would come to her office and wait for her. Well, I didn't want to wait in the office, so I'd walk around downtown, and one of her surgeries, it was freezing cold, and so I walked, and I stayed all day practically in Leadership Square drawing.
Cool.
And nobody cares. As long as you're not causing trouble, nobody cares.
Yeah, you check the boundaries on it. Yeah, and they probably would rouse the guy that looked like he was just a little, bum kind of looking, whatever.
Yeah,
they probably would rouse that guy, but sitting there with maybe a coffee and drawing, they're not going to rouse you.
No, I mean, I have gotten questioned quite a bit when I've been downtown drawing, and usually if I'll tell people, oh, I'm an artist, I'm drawing. Usually they'll leave me alone. You know
what? I may check that out, Scott. I want to see if the only reason I'm permitted to move around freely downtown is because I'm hanging out with you. I'll go down there by myself, post myself there, and draw and see if I can break an hour before they try to rouse me.
You think I look more more respectable than you do?
I look like somebody that probably ought to be told to move along. Anyway,
if you do, it's because you think you do.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the difference between you and me. I have every right to be sitting there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and I put that vibe out.
I'd be just as peeved if they did tell me to move along, but like I deserve to be there. Okay, Scott, I guess we're done.
Okay, sounds good, Ellis. I'll talk to you later, man.
Thanks for checking us out, D. Bye.
Yep. Thanks, everybody. Bye.